Hello everybody, it's Jason Godwise here with God Total, and this is lesson number 23, okay? And it's called Beware when you battle monsters that you don't become a monster. Of course, everyone recognizes that quote from the great Friedrich Nietzsche, but it is true. It is. The examples of this lesson are endless. Beware when you go fight a monster that you don't become the exact thing you are fighting. There's so many examples of this, and you probably will think of several that I don't even mention. One is freedom of speech. In the 60s, everyone on college campuses was trying to protest and bring in radical new ideas that people were uncomfortable with, ideas outside the box that people wouldn't accept, ideas that were outside the traditional political norm. And those exact same people now are shutting down all free speech in colleges, not allowing outside speakers to bring in ideas outside of what they want. They have become the monster that they were fighting. That's one example. When you fight something, and so many people do this, that wasn't one person, that was a whole movement, a whole organization, but it became the monster. It just replaced. There's an old poem that they went, I think it's called The Gray Monk. He went into where the tyrant fled and crushed his head and became a tyrant in his stead. They just replaced the monster with themselves and became the monster, and as if never a beat was missed. Another example, the war on drugs. People wanted drugs out of the cities. They wanted low-income neighborhoods not to be suffering from drugs. They wanted fathers in the household. They wanted children raised safely, so they started a war on drugs. And it made the situation much worse. Now everything they were going to fight, they've become. The war on drugs has put more kids in harm, destroyed cities worse, hurt low-income people more, that they became the monster that they were fighting. The war on poverty, the same way. All the situations, all the measures to stop poverty, fight poverty, have made poverty worse. They become the monster. And it could be every animal rights. There's people that have fought hard for. They've basically made it impossible for small farmers. They've made it difficult for, those type of things. Some of the shelters can't work now because they have certain guidelines. I know a person that was just doing they were kind of helping shelter. They had a big backyard, some fences, but they were shut down now. The group that's trying to help animals has actually made it more difficult, and that's also happened in homelessness. Here, there's a new law. There's many people that homelessness is a big problem in Hawaii, and there was this new helpful legislation law that said that they needed, I think it was 10 square feet per bed. And there was a lot of places that didn't quite have that. And there was places that had 20 beds. Now they've got to throw out 4 people, 5 people, and have 15 beds because these people fighting these monsters of homelessness have now become the monster and caused more homelessness. Same thing with feeding the hunger. I was helping with the food bank here, and every other word out of the director's mouth was, well, we can't do that anymore because of this regulation. You can't get kids here to help because they have to be 18. Oh, we can't use that food anymore because it has to be canned and it can't be the day-old stuff. So stores quit donating to us because we can't use it. All of the do-gooders who wanted to help that, all who were fighting those monsters, the monsters of hunger, have now become the monster and caused more hunger. Examples of this are endless. Like I said, drugs, people that wanted families better off, and heads of house not using drugs. Well, let's throw them in jail, and now that's destroyed families. Homelessness. There is a situation now where we have people giving vouchers for your certain, whatever your income is, then a certain amount of your income you can't pay more than 30 or 40%. I don't remember the exact figure. And the state was going to give you a voucher. Well, what that did now is all the landlords charge more. And so the poor that are just poor enough not to get a voucher, they're struggling. They've created that person that started fighting this monster has created another monster. They are the monster because they are doing the damage. Education. There are people that want to get into schools and make sure they're teaching this much math or this much science, and they're going to give tests at the end of every subject to make sure that math and science is tested. The teachers now are just maybe teaching to the test, and they're ignoring some of the more beautiful, complex things, and they can't afford to go back and remediate and go a little slower with the class. You know, one year you might have a slower class and maybe not get through as much, but that they have now become a monster. The monster they were fighting, they've become that monster. These are just examples I'm giving you, but there are endless examples of people who fought monsters and became the monster they were fighting. There's so many of that. It could be, I know, jealousy in relationships, jobs, making sure people are treated fairly. Well, that ends up no one's treated fairly. So this is a simple, I always say that it's a simple lesson, but it is simple. It's something to be aware of. Just one of those things. And probably no one ever said it better than Nietzsche. He said a lot of things pretty well, better than anyone else did. Be careful when you battle monsters that you don't become the monster. So, hope this helps somebody. Thanks very much. Bye.